If you've ever talked to a beekeeper, you know that they are a passionate bunch, and now the Aussies and the Kiwis are in a red-hot battle over the naming rights of possibly the world's most famous honey. Steve Marshall explains.
That's it. We are in the trenches. Straight up.
Moving bees in the middle of the day. We've got a bushfire coming up here in the Blue Mountains.
There's nothing Ben Brown wouldn't do for his beloved bees, including going to war against his closest neighbour.
This is ridiculous. We should be working with our Kiwi cousins.
Ben's at the centre of a hullabaloo with the Kiwis over the world's most sought-after honey. Oh, beautiful. Look at that.
That's Manuka.
Oh, that's Manuka.
Yep.
You'd think the COVID climate would bring us closer together, but here's the sting in this story's tale. When it comes to this sweet nectar, the Kiwis still want all the golden spoils for themselves, pressing ahead with trademark applications for the Manuka name and freezing Aussies out of the lucrative global market.
I say it's a load of bull, to be honest with you.
This is much more than just a few people who have a bee in their bonnet. This is about Aussie families whose livelihoods are on the line in the great Anzac honey hustle.
It's un-Anzac to them.
The Anzac spirit is not ripping somebody off.
They're definitely calling it un-Anzac-like.
We used to fight in the trenches together. Now, you know, we're unifying the Australian honey industry to fight in the trenches against the New Zealanders just so we can sell our product.
First things first, you're gonna need one of these. Bee suit, spaceman suit.
Dressed for battle.
You could be gloved up, taped up. They always get in.
You probably shouldn't have told me that before we do this.
You'll be fine.
Ben's a third-generation beekeeper, and this is his lifeblood. These hives only produce Manuka honey, the majority of Ben's Warada company sales.
You want to try some?
I'd love to, but I'm not taking off the hood, mate.
Oh, come on, it won't hurt you.
Stop aggravating it.
Try telling that to our cameraman, Steve.
Get into the bushes.
Come back, Steve. Come back. But there's no retreat from Ben and thousands of other Aussie beekeepers in the face of a mighty enemy. The Kiwis claim the Manuka name is derived from the Maori language and should be commercially respected. Here's a tough-talking John Rawcliffe from New Zealand's Manuka Honey Appellation Society.
But I can assure you, on that matter, there's no negotiation. It is a Māori word, it has certain values, it's deep in Māori mythology. That's a no-go area. Full stop.
Manuka is massive business, more so now as people lean towards healthy natural products. At around $30 a small jar, the Kiwis actually fly bees by helicopter into remote Manuka tree-rich country. Despite our Anzac history of working together in sticky situations, the Kiwis are pushing on with attempts to trademark the Manuka honey name with powerful trading partners, effectively cornering the market, just like the French did with the name Champagne.
Typical bee country here in New South Wales.
Yeah.
Manuka trees scattered throughout, different species.
Ben McKee is from the Australian Manuka Honey Association. He wants you to know Aussie beekeepers have just as much right to use the Manuka name on their honey as the Kiwis.
We've got evidence of parks in Tasmania in the 1880s being called Manuka. With 1890s, they're actually producing Manuka honey in Tasmania. There's a suburb in Canberra called Manuka, they call it, but it's Manuka. We've been producing Manuka honey here and calling it that since bees have been in Australia.
So effectively, can we call these Manuka trees?
We think so.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Manuka honey is produced from leptospermum. We've got a lot of varieties here in Australia. In New Zealand, they only have one.
That's right. The Kiwis only have one species of Manuka honey tree, officially called leptospermum, while Australia has over 80. Is it a bit rich, them trying to claim solely Manuka honey?
Well, it's pretty clear their species came from Australia because of our distribution. We're the home of leptospermum.
I would say that's calling every dog a dingo, because it's to your advantage.
Springtime, she's laying about 2,000 eggs a day.
While queen bees on both sides of the Tasman form colonies, the Kiwis claim we're living up to our convict heritage.
Well, when you take something that's not yours and apply it to something that's never been called that and transfer it to 82 other species, that's misappropriation, that's misuse. Is it not?
If you guys look at this, please support your local beekeepers. This year's probably going to be one of the worst years on record.
Aussie beekeepers like Ben just don't need the grief after a horror run of natural disasters.
We need government help. Because we want to work with the Kiwis, we don't want to be fighting. There's just so much money being wasted on lawyers. This money could be spent on research, market access, promotion, and we have New Zealand and Australia, we have the best honey in the world. Why fight? We should be joined together and selling it side by side on the world stage.
The New Zealand government's already tipped in $6 million to help fund their Manuka producers' trademark applications. This Kiwi politician summing up their stance.
And they have no right to purloin, filch or do a pavlova on our Manuka honey.
The UK Trademark Registry has decided the term Manuka was indeed a Māori word that referred to the plant from which the honey is derived.
At the moment, you guys are saying, let's use the correct term for a rock out there, from Ayers Rock to Uru. Let's not walk all over it. That's a good idea. What about the same for other cultural terms and values?
But the jury is still out on the huge Chinese and US markets.
They're better at rugby than us. They can have that, but in terms of Manuka, I think we can share it.
And you had better believe that this is an Anzac Hill that Aussie battler beekeepers are willing to die on.
We just got to keep fighting and guarantee it, it's in the blood. Beekeepers won't give up on this.
You're going to fight hard?
Definitely.
Our friends across the ditch will be making a significant announcement on their trademark battle at Parliament House at the end of the month. And we're running a Facebook poll to see if you think Australian honey producers should be able to use the Manuka name. So far, 65% of you say yes and 35% say no. Head to our Facebook page to cast your vote.